Ash and I just got here, and we're about to talk to Paul Kenyon, who was friends with the Dandy family here during the exorcism, and he has spent so much time here. Hi, Paul. Thank you for coming and talking to us.
You're welcome.
So you grew up here?
I met the Dandys in 1973, and I met the family and heard their stories about, the knockings and the furniture dragging around the house, and I thought, yeah, okay, because I didn't believe it. But as time went on, I learned to really understand that these people have a problem within this house. There's something going on. In this house, you must be careful. You have to be on your guard. Most of the time it's wonderful, it's quiet, it's serene, it's a very nice place just to be relaxing. And then, bam.
That's what happened to me in the kitchen.
And it's so weird.
Yeah, it's been our experience too.
Yeah. I want to tell you an incident that happened Labor Day. We had a picnic. Father Al was here, the family, myself, my fiance, and we were having a good time. But when I walked in the back door, Laura, the middle child, she was my barometer for this house. When there was something wrong, I'd look to Laura, and I know what I should be sensible about what might be going on in the house. I walked in, and Clara was just rushing through the kitchen, and I said, "What's going on?" She said, "It's bad." We were up here and we had a picnic, and it didn't last long. We expected to be here till like 5 or 6 or 7 o'clock, just having a good old time. But we left about 3 o'clock, and I was home and I was doing what I had to do, and I was just doing my normal everyday routines. And Father Al called me about, I think, 7:45, between 7:30 and 7:45. And I started small talk with him, and he cut me off. He said, "Oh, a real quiet man, very quiet little guy." And he said, "Would you go back to the house with me for Clara?" I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "All hell has broken loose." So Father Al picked me up, which that never happened. It only happened twice during the exorcism and this date. We got into the driveway and pulled around to the back of the house, and this, where the yard is now, used to actually be parking. It was all dirt. So we pulled up kind of like even with the house and underneath the upstairs windows. And when I got out, I looked up and I waved to Clara. At least I thought it was Clara. Or it could have been Beth upstairs too. Her bedroom was down here in the living room. I waved to her, and just as Father got to the door, here comes Clara and Phil around the side of the house. And I looked up again, and the woman wasn't there. Jeez.
I know.
The woman wasn't there. But I told her, and she said, "Yeah, well, keep looking, because you're going to see more."
It was really neat to hear firsthand from somebody who was present during the Dandy family's time here during the exorcism with Father Trebold and Alex Tannis. That was really cool to hear about that experience. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about, were you there during the exorcism?
Sitting in that doorway with 2 of the crew members. Yeah.
Okay, so it was Father Trebold and Alex Tannis were there. Can you tell us a little about that night?
When they started the exorcism, I was in the doorway over here. We looked like, in my book, I said we must have looked like a 3-headed monster, because the 3 of us squeezed right in here in chairs, kind of angled, and we were watching the exorcism. And right toward the end, all you could hear, and this is something else that is so puzzling, a cross between a banshee, a little baby crying, or a cat in heat, or something like that. But it was within the whole house. It wasn't coming from anywhere. It was everywhere within, like the house was crying. Which, it sounds to me crazy, but that's what we heard. And the guy standing in front of Beth's room, when everybody started talking about it, he said, "Shh, it's still going on, quiet." And then he said he heard a voice. Those are the kind of things that happen up here all the time. Or you could be sitting down here and you'd hear a dresser go across the room. There's nobody upstairs. Those are the kinds of things that happen with the Dandy family. But after the exorcism, myself, and there was 3 other people on the floor, but I said to Mike Dandy that I don't think it took. It's still here. I feel that weird feeling. I don't even know how to explain
Uneasy,
it.
maybe?
Well, Jan overheard me. She said, will you say that tomorrow during the documentary? I said, no. Who am I? I'm just a 21-year-old rock musician. I'm going to tell some, great psychic that he's wrong? Father Al didn't show up at the documentary the next day. He didn't come. He didn't want to be involved. I didn't know for 25 years why. And when I came back to Olean in '99, I went right to the rectory and I rang the bell, and the priest came out, and I said, is Father Alphonsus Trabold still here? He said, he is. I said, God, can I please see him? Excuse me. Very dear friend. And he passed away in 2005. But we talked about the house, but we didn't talk about the house. I did ask him, why didn't you come the next day? He said, because I know it didn't work. He said, that house will never be cleansed. In his estimation, you can go through Father Al's archives at the university. You can go through his personal belongings. That man was decades ahead of paranormal investigations. But Father was a remarkable man, and he knew that this place had serious trouble, but he didn't know what. He actually didn't know what, and the man would have known anything about this.
Yeah.
But he couldn't come to a conclusion as to what would cause all this craziness with the family. And since then, it's gotten worse. I think the place is more haunted now, but it's haunted by deviant things sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was it Alex who believed that the exorcism was successful, Alex Tannis?
Alex felt that he was able to push away the energy of the spirits, that they wouldn't bother the family anymore. Okay. When Alex came to the house in fall of '73 at Father Al's bequest, after giving a lecture at the University for Paranormal Activity, he came up and he walked through the house and he said, there are 7 spirits bothering you. I went out into the kitchen, and when I walked behind Alex's chair, I touched his shoulder. Take that balloon, rub it on your hair, and put it to your shirt. It's the same thing.
Staticky feeling?
Thing. Same static. He's full of power. How can a human be that way? But that's what I felt when I touched his shoulder. I thought, woo!
So during the Estes session with Carol in Mary's room, Anna asked the question, how many people are in this house? And Carol replies, 7. At the moment, we didn't really think anything of that, but then hearing from Paul the next day and reviewing Alex Tannis's book, Alex actually said that there were 7 spirits when he visited the house back in 1973.
Thank you
so much for coming out with us.
You're very welcome.
Yes, I'm so glad we got to talk to you. This has
You
blown
are
my mind.
a great bunch of people.
I loved his stories. I loved what he had to say because I feel like he was a no bullshitter. I really believed what he had to say. I'm glad he had some input.
Last night was interesting in the aspect that it provided us with more questions than we're getting answers. Its lead points bring us in different directions, so we have to come up with a really concise game plan today to actually hopefully open communication channels.
Are we okay if we don't find answers?
We're gonna have to be.
You're gonna have to be.
Yeah.
Last night's investigation was honestly really feeling like a dud for about the first 6 hours. I kind of started to doubt our last investigation here, if any of what we felt was real, if any of what we experienced was beyond our imagination. I'm a bit lost on what I want to do tonight, truthfully. I think I'm a bit disconnected at this point, so probably the first step is to take a moment and try to reconnect myself with the grounds, with the house.
Talking to Paul today, he's like, it is not the haunt that was in the 70s. It was very much haunted in the 70s, but this is different. He's like, this is, and it kind of goes with what I've been thinking is so many people have been in and out of here, so many different investigation tactics, like what's been brought here, what's been stirred up, what was here before.
Right. What have we added to?
What have we added? He felt like stories have been embellished, and I told him that I just wanted to close the gap in between now and when the Dandy family lived there, and just feel like it did when they lived here.